Hi guys, my name is Natalie and Taylor's behind the camera. You'll see her in a second. This is another video that we're doing. Today we're going to be talking about the BESS test. BESS stands for Balance Error Scoring System. You will typically see this used in athletic training environments when you're being assessed for how bad a head injury was or if you're ready to go back to playing on the field. The purpose is to assess your static postural stability with your eyes closed, so how well you can basically balance on an even and uneven ground. The test is about 10 minutes long. You're going to need a foam pad to stand on as well as a firm surface. We'll just be using the ground. You need a stopwatch because each test is 20 seconds long, and then a BESS scorecard and your protocol. Mine's just on a laptop. And then the purpose is that you're going to calculate the number of errors for each position that we do. So there's going to be 3 different standing positions for firm and uneven ground. And then the maximum number of errors that you can have per condition is going to be 10. Your errors that you're looking for are going to be the participant moving their hands off of their hips at any point, opening their eyes, stepping off or stumbling or completely falling off of the mat, hip flexion or abduction larger than 30 degrees, so like that, or forward, just off to the side. You want to look for major flexion. And then you'll be able to see it better in a second, but lifting their heel or their forefoot off of the ground to balance and remain stable. If multiple errors are occurring at once during a test, they're going to count as one error, and then we are going to move over to kind of demonstrate some of those errors and how you would run through the test.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 3 stances, and like Natalie said, they're going to be for 20 seconds each. The first stance is going to be your double leg stance, so your feet are going to be together and touching. You're going to be facing forward, hands and hips, and you're going to close your eyes, just like that. Next is your single leg stance. Now, you are going to have your patient or participant standing on their non-dominant foot. If they do not know which foot is their non-dominant foot, you can just help them out by asking if you were to roll a ball towards them, which foot would they kick it with? Okay, perfect, that would be their dominant. So we'll take the foot that they did not say, have them stand on that. In this case, it's my left. You're going to stand on your non-dominant foot, flex to your hip about 30 degrees, and then your knee is going to be flexed at about 45 degrees. Facing forward, eyes closed, hands on the hips, just like that. Next we have our tandem stance. So we already established which foot is the non-dominant. That one's going to go in the back, so my right foot would be forward. Toe and heel will be touching. Same thing, facing forward, hands on the hips, and you're going to close your eyes. It's also very important to remember we do not have any shoes on during this. We keep our eyes closed at all times because it would be an error if it was open, and just always keep your hands on your hips. Okay, so Natalie is going to demonstrate the tandem stance for us on the firm surface, which again is going to be the floor. So she's going to get in that stance, and whenever I see that she is ready and her eyes are shut and she has a great stance, I'm going to start the timer. Good. Okay, now my lovely assistant is going to do it on the foam surface. So she's going to get into position, that tandem stance with her non-dominant foot in the back. And then once she gains her balance, now this one it's different. Bear with it. It's hard. So whenever I know that she's ready, she lets me know that she's ready. Then I'll start the timer and I'll count her errors. Okay, go. Okay, so in this case, Natalie would receive the maximum amount of score, which would be a 10, because she was not able to hold the position for at least 5 seconds. And as you can see, she was wiggling and wobbling up and down. So in that case, you would just give the patient a max amount of 10, because you can't judge or score them properly if they're not able to hold the stance. However, for the firm surface, Natalie did great. There was no wiggling and wobbling. Even you could tell her feet were balancing, but we did not see the toes come up. We didn't see her heel come up. So you saw her feet balance and maybe barely wiggle, but it wasn't an air wiggle, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
I also wanted to mention that throughout the test, when people do any position and they have their eyes closed, there will be slight variation, like tilting and stuff, but that's normal. It's just your nervous system attempting to stay upright. So that wouldn't count as an error. You really want to be specific about how far they're leaning before you count it as an error. So like natural deviation isn't going to count as an error.
And I also wanted to just add that the BESS test does state that in the ideal situation, there would be a spotter for your patient or participant to help make sure that they do not get injured, but that's not always able to happen. So especially if you're working with a person who's been concussed or those geriatric populations in a PT setting, for example, you want to make sure that they have a bar or something that they can grab onto if they start to fall, because yes, we're always trying to test our patients, but we do not want them to get injured.
Okay, bye guys. We'll see you in the next video.